All right, and we're back. Welcome back to Pixels and Pints. We're going to serenade your ears tonight for the first time in quite a while. We're apologizing for that, but hey, life happens. This is the late night recording. It's not. It's about 7 o'clock at night. It's very early. But on my right, we have Liam.
G'day. How you going, guys? Good to be back.
Welcome back, Liam. And then we have, of course, the ever effervescent Peter.
Hi. Thanks, Richard Mercer.
You're welcome. Here's... I don't know, Careless Whisper. George Michael.
Yes, later on we'll be playing some jazz flute.
Jazz flute. I'm going to crack a beer.
While you do that, it has been a fucking long time. So between Christmas and all the craziness that usually brings to the brewing industry and the beer serving industry, I tried to take holidays and failed dismally. Thank you, work. 5 weeks turned into a week and a half. That was fun. And then Dan went and had a massive masturbation accident and pulled some sort of tendon off his bone. Ugh. So, yeah, hence he has a robotic arm at the moment. He can't drive. I think he's actually been working.
Yeah, I think he's just on light duties. Just kind of sitting there yelling at people. Put those hops in now.
So he's mastering the one-figure typing.
He's become the foreman.
Did he say he had to... he could only do left-handed gaming for a while as well?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, try holding a controller and controlling all the buttons with one hand.
Need to get him one of those complete access controllers for people with disabilities, yeah.
And ironically, 3 months has passed since we've last done a podcast recording, and yet not that much has actually happened in the industry. There's been some stuff, and we've got some stuff to talk about, but, with COVID, everything's kind of shut down. Ironically, PlayStation 5 stock is still fucked because of COVID. Demand is still extreme because of COVID.
Yeah.
So, between video games and Hollywood, there's not that much going on.
No, really.
The world's revolving at a much slower rate these days, isn't it?
Yeah, very much seems to be. So what are we drinking, Tomo?
Well, my dad got a holiday, lucky bastard. But he went up to, we used to always go up to Yamba, up the north coast of New South Wales, lovely little town. And there's a brewery near there called Sanctus Brewing Co. And Dad went in, was talking to the dude. He's like, yeah, we don't really have much in Sydney. He's like, well, I know a guy who drinks beer in Sydney. And so he brought me back a couple of mixed 4-packs. But this is their Blueberry Crush. It's 4.5%. It's a celebration of our local farmers who toil in the ancient floodplains, it says plains, should say plains, of the northern rivers. Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries sourced from our local suppliers make up the body of this light, refreshing, and slightly soured beer.
Yeah, it's definitely kettle sour.
I'm going to drink it now.
Cool.
Just for those watching at home.
You get berries, but it is very light on in flavour.
Blueberries, actually, I like the fact that the colour looks like when you squeeze a blueberry. Once you get past the skin, there's actually a lot.
It's not blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, you've started off with something that's super light and refreshing. You thought I was going to say easy to drink.
I was hoping. I've missed it.
It's been 2 years since I've said that
I've missed it.
I think it's awesome where they're a relatively new brewery, I believe.
They're still making typos on the can.
Yeah. I mean, I work for a brewery that's not new and we still make typos on cans.
I think it's cool though. It's kind of I don't know. There's a realness. There's an authenticity to it in terms of a new startup.
Yeah, and for a new brewery in a regional area, it's a pretty out there style to do.
Well, the pack that Dad brought me, they're he split it between me and my brothers. But there are a couple of pretty easygoing lagers in there, and then a really, really, really good XPA. It just absolutely nailed the style. A red ale that I had the other night, which was still holding up, and then they've got a 10% stout.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I haven't cracked yet. I'm saving it for, I should have had it last night given how rainy and wet it was, but it's perfect stout weather.
A night ender.
Yes, or a beginner.
Or something to sit on while you're playing video games, I suppose. No, this is good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, there's a nice little bit of funkiness in the back of it as well.
Yeah. It's not quite farmhousey, but it's kind of on that spectrum.
Yeah, it's got
and it's not too sour.
No. Got a touch of Easter show in the back, but not too much.
But not a full Luna Park.
No.
Yeah. That's good. You want to start us off with a topic, Tom? You're always bursting full of fruit flavour.
I am. at the moment I'm bursting full of blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries.
There you go.
Do you get
Hey.
the raspberries and
Perfect
blackberries,
segue.
or is it? It's pretty. Just,
I don't get much of the raspberries.
Yeah.
And blueberries are soft flavour to start with, unless you use the synthetics that no one admits to using
Yeah.
till they get called out.
What have I been doing? I was telling Liam on the way here on the train ride up that I've been dealing with the Square Enix support at the moment.
Oh, yeah?
I finally started playing the PS4 Avengers game. And the bugs have started to creep in. And I emailed them being like, yo, I started playing a game. It's going all right. But everyone I've seen pops this trophy in the opening mission and mine won't. And I've uninstalled the game, reinstalled the game, started again,
Yep.
taken my save off onto USB, put it back on. Nothing. I even rebuilt the database of the PS5 today to see if that had helped pop it. Nothing.
You should have brought the game over. Is it digital or disc?
Disc.
Bring it over next time you come over and load into your profile on my PS5 and try it again.
Well, I was actually thinking my next step was going to be I've still got my PS4 in a box.
Yeah.
So I was going to get that out and do it.
If they haven't separated the trophy list.
No, they haven't yet.
Okay.
No, I'm playing the PS4 version. The PS5 version drops.
It's a good way to stack.
Yeah.
For a lot of games like AC Valhalla, you can upconvert to PS5 and it will repop all your PS4 trophies, but they're separated in two lists. And then I'm pretty certain you can downgrade back to the PS4 and it will repop all your PS5 earned trophies into the PS4 list. So essentially you can get platinum twice, but only play the game once.
Yeah. So that's been my that's what I've been playing at the moment. Actually, it's been I'm getting to the stage. I thought the game was pretty harshly panned when it first came out. I'm starting to see why. I still think it was overly harshly dealt some criticism. I am getting to the stage now where it's like it's getting very grindy.
Yeah.
The story was excellent, and there's enough of there's a new DLC coming out in like a week or so that might help to get, because it's just you got to get your characters all to like level 50, and it just takes forever doing the same like 3 missions, and it's just like over and over. So it's weird.
In order to earn the platinum, I'm assuming, is the driver here.
Yeah. I've just started. I've gone full into that. I don't know, in the last since we last recorded, I think I've got another like 4 or 5. I've gone back and cleaned some games up. Last of Us 2 was excellent. I got to play that again.
I still haven't finished one.
I haven't. Oh, really? I loved one, but I haven't touched 2 yet.
I love the game. I just never got around to finishing.
Yeah.
I got distracted by something else. Usually, you know what kills me? I get addicted to video games, go on holidays for 2 weeks, usually like an international trip, come home and I have no desire to play that game ever again.
Yeah.
It's happened so many fucking times. It's how I finally broke my addiction to World of Warcraft.
So usually when I'm on the plane back, I'm like
Frothing to
I
get
land
on.
in 14 hours. I can play my PlayStation. I know I need to stay up until this point so that like
Yeah.
Sitting on the plane with the controller in his hand, not connected to anything.
Yeah, just warming up the muscles.
Yeah, just making sure.
Don't want any atrophy ruin my stats.
Yeah. So no, it's fun. It's just it's for a Marvel property, they've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
There's so much more they could do with it, and if they're planning to release it slowly, they're taking their sweet ass time about like doing that. And I think that's what's killing the game, because I can't find anyone to play with like multiplayer.
Aww.
I don't have any friends, so that's probably why
I have
too.
very limited sympathy after. So I've been playing Call of Duty, Cold War.
Yeah.
And the multiplayer is excellent. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And it will get grindy, as all CODs do in multiplayer at some point. Season 1 just finished. So they're about to reset everyone's prestige level back to 1, and you start the grind again. But I'm really interested in checking out Warzone, which is now shared between Modern Warfare and Cold War.
Yeah, right.
It's a single Warzone shared between both games, and it's 100% cross-platform. So
That's
PS4, PS5, both Xboxes, both current Xboxes, and PC all blend into one. And I'm really interested in playing in squads, because that's where the fun would be. Mm-hmm. So I put out the call to the Pixels and Pints WhatsApp channel, and anyone want to fucking, screw around and get like once a week, just jump in and fuck around for a couple of hours. And everyone was just, no.
You got
It was crickets.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
it wasn't crickets.
and
It was 3 instant replies. No, fuck off.
Sorry, not my thing. Oh, fuck you then. So you have limited sympathy frankly, for your multiplayer.
Well, stop playing Call of Duty. Play a better game. You heard me. I said it.
I'm
fight
enjoying
me,
it.
everyone. Fight me.
I'm enjoying it.
That's fair. As long as you're enjoying it. I just won't. When I was in the share house in Marsfield, we had the shared Xbox in the living room, and I had my PlayStation in my room, and I just burnt myself out because the only games we really had on the Xbox was Call of Duty, and it was
Battlefield.
No, we did have Battlefield, but we didn't really play it. It was it was the original Black Ops, so the first zombies, and we just we'll play that. I burnt myself out on it, and I've never really gone back to a COD since.
Yeah, okay.
I think I played Black Ops 3 was the last one I played when it was free on PlayStation Plus, and I was just like I got through the story, and I was like, no, I'm good.
I had no desire to play it. I bought it with the PlayStation 5, and it just sat on the shelf until I finished Valhalla. Yeah. And while I was towards the end of Valhalla, I had zero interest in playing it. And then I finished Valhalla, and I thought, I can do some, I can invest the same time into something that's actually beneficial to my life beyond just video games. Like I might go play piano again and pick that up. And, oh, look, Call of Duty. I might just check it out for a couple of minutes.
just a taste.
Just dip the toe in the pond.
Haven't learnt any more piano. No. I wanted to wrap on AC Valhalla because I've mentioned it a couple of times in a couple of eps, but now that I've platinumed the game, I kind of can do a retrospective. 720 collectibles to get the trophy, and it seemed
Christ almighty.
Yeah, that was my reaction when I first read that. But it's not the same as... I had more fun playing that game than I did the 220 feathers you had to collect for the platinum in the AC2. Right? So you'd finish Assassin's Creed 2, you've climbed all over Rome, you've done all the missions, you've unlocked everything, and then you just have to climb up really annoyingly tall buildings.
Like 15 minutes climbing up one building.
Yeah, to get one feather, right? And then you look at something like AC4, I think was Black Flag.
Black Flag, yeah.
And you'd have to, and they added a new annoying collectible that moved. So it was on the top of a building. It was like I think it was a sea shanty. That's what it was. It was little.
Oh, and you had to chase it. Yeah, I remember that.
And if you fuck up once, you have to go all the way back to the start and start again. So it was a parkour challenge, but really there was shitty reward at the end. The reward was fucked. It's not like the old parkour puzzles in AC2 and Brotherhood and all the rest of it. So I'm like 720 or whatever the fucking number was. But whilst you did have some collectibles and they had those sea shanty style things again, there was only maybe 30 or 40 of those.
Yeah, but it was like tattoos this time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And the collectibles were also do all the side quests. To me, that's not really a grind because the side quests were interesting.
Yeah,
they were funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots of pop culture references in the dialogue. And there's a variety. You never felt like you were doing the same side quest twice. And some of them were like 10 seconds long and some of them weren't. You had to go and unlock all the standing stones. So they have like Stonehenge-style stones scattered in a...
I've been hearing about these.
In an area, and you use your eagle vision. No, not really.
Maybe is that the stacking? Is that the stacking one?
The cans. They were...
Yeah.
2 or 3 I spent maybe 20 minutes doing.
Yeah.
You have to stack in-game stones on top of each other and balance them to reach a certain height to complete that kind of challenge. And some of them were fucking difficult. Like to get the stones to stand up, you get all the way to the very top, put the last stone on, the whole stack would fall down and you start again. So, yeah, they were annoying, but there wasn't too many of them either. So in the end, I actually felt like getting the platinum was way less grindy than probably the last 10 AC games. The actual storyline, people have complained, including myself, that with Origins onwards, so you got Origins and Odyssey, they have not been Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
They've been set in a historical world in a similar manner, but they haven't felt like an AC game.
Oh, Odyssey definitely didn't.
Yeah.
So this game is the third iteration of that kind of engine, same kind of RPG elements of unlocking paths through do you want to go stealth? Do you want to go hunter with your bow? Or do you want to go just all out melee?
Yeah.
So they've inherited that kind of style and that open world style as well, but they've added enough AC elements back in that it does actually feel like an Assassin's Creed game again. You can play 100% stealth.
Yeah.
You can nail 50 dudes in a castle and never be detected.
Yeah.
So I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I thought it was well executed.
Yeah, I'm like halfway through it, and I wasn't going to buy it because, after Odyssey, I was like, I just found Odyssey such a repetitive grind that I just gave up. And I was like, I think that's it. I'm not going to play another Assassin's Creed game. And then I actually went up to a mate's place and he was playing it. And I was like, oh, this actually looks pretty cool. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been great. I think they did a really good job of fixing the really repetitive things out of Odyssey and making it a bit more mission-based and story-based, so actually you feel rewarded for doing something.
There was one grind for me, and that was the ore log. So there's a in-game... Ironically, I'm going to complain about it, and I'm going to say something at the end that's going to completely contradict myself, but it's a dice game, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and you've got like health tokens and you've got dice and then you've got modifier. You can pick up to 3 of these modifiers. So you might collect these. Some of the dice have an extra icon on them and that give you a kill streak point, if you like. And if you collect 20 of those, then you can do 12 damage to their health pool or whatever. It's interestingly designed. It's a well-designed dice game. There's no basis in fact, like historical fact. It was never
it didn't exist.
It didn't exist back in the Viking times. They said they looked at quite a few actual games from Viking times, but none of them were interesting enough to put in the game.
Right.
But you have to beat every Orlog player in the game. And there's, I don't know, I think there's 37 or something. And it's fucking annoying because most of the Orlog players sit in side towns where there is no fast travel point anywhere near it.
You gotta hike out there. Yeah.
And it's the last thing you do before you get your platinum trophy because it's a trophy by itself. And it annoyed the fuck out of me having to do it. And yet I got to the end and a couple of days later I'm like, I wonder if they've made an eBay version of the game because it'd actually be a lot of fun to sit around with a couple of mates getting drunk and playing this dice game in real life. So I hated it in game, but in the end I missed it. Now I want to play it. And it turns out that you can't, no one's ripped it off yet. Anyone with a fucking 3D printer could essentially do it. But Ubisoft are releasing an official game of Orlog, which I will definitely pick up when they release it.
Yeah, well, it's like Witcher did that with like Gwent, right? And then that got massive in its own title.
I was about to say I was having the same thing where it's like by the end of it, I was like, when I first started, I was like, I'm avoiding any of those Gwent things because I didn't understand it at first. But by the end of it, I was like, no, I probably should go back and I got to go back and play it on Deathmarch to Platinum eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll go make sure I go back and do all the Gwent. And
it is its own thing now.
Yeah. Now it's its own game. Yeah.
It's not only its own game, but they've got physical cards now too.
Yeah. I was just surprised, like for a game that didn't exist in the real, historically, how complicated it. Like they put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
at least as much as
mechanics.
At least as much as a normal dude would put into like a Kickstarter program for 100%. A boxed game.
Yeah. It's almost like they had a separate division just to do that. Like,
who knows? Maybe they bought out a Kickstarter and just stole their rules or modified an existing game. I don't know, but it was complicated.
Yeah.
Certainly there are numerous strategies to the game, and like all good board games, really easy to play, really hard to master.
Yeah, and that's what makes a good game, like a board game. Yeah.
So that was my AC Valhalla wrap. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it. And as much as like Dan fucking hates Desmond, absolutely hates that whole element that they built into the original AC games. To me, it was what tied it all together and made it way more interesting in terms of meta.
It moved the storyline.
And it broke the fourth wall in a way that I found really appealing and surprising when the original storyline was unfolding. And then Desmond dies. And then the implementation ever since has just kind of been shit.
Clunky, yeah.
There've been a couple of real bad fails where you weren't even playing a character, you were playing an avatar, but you never saw who that person was and they had no place in the historic storyline at all. I've got to say, what they've done, and I thought Origins and Odyssey, the present day play mechanics were kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I never wanted to get out of the Animus. Just put me fucking back in. Skip. Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I never finished all of the DLC for Odyssey.
Oh, you're lucky.
But I do understand what happens. And I've got to say, the way that they kind of tied it into the latest game in Valhalla it's gone back to being really fucking interesting and cool.
Yeah.
Like Desmond Miles cool, and Desmond's actually still a part of the story, which I thought was epic.
Cool. Yeah.
So I'm not going to reveal in what way. It's not an obvious way, but yeah, I thought they did a really good job of kind of writing that in.
Yeah, I haven't got that far, so I don't know the full storyline. Anything that really weirded me out was that weird tear thing where you start doing those
Yeah,
3D,
yeah. What do they call it? Animus glitches.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they had them in the last game, didn't they? Did they have animus glitches?
I don't remember. I don't think I got that far.
I've played a lot of games since.
And it has been a long time on the calendar too, since Odyssey, since we were playing it.
Yeah.
Well, I finished Odyssey. That was the first game I finished when we went into lockdown last year.
Yeah, there you go.
I finished
That's
it
a year
just
ago.
so like I was like, oh, I'll go back and finish Odyssey.
Yep.
And I did that. Took me the first like couple of weeks.
But it had already been out for like at least 9 months before that.
Oh no, that was a year after I got it.
Yeah, so 2 years ago we were playing. Well, I was playing the game. 2019.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that DLC as well, it's like that DLC was so rich and so like full that if I'd been playing it as it came out, I would have been much more rewarded. I stupidly went straight from finishing the grind of that story into the DLC.
You need to break it up.
Oh, I was just like, yeah, by the end of it, because the first one was like, yeah, it was pretty medium length. The second one was okay. And then the third one was huge. It was massive world and everything, the Poseidon world. And I was just like, here we go again. Fine, climb these things.
And there's no platinum at the end,
things.
so Tom abandoned it.
No, I went back. I did it all. I was just looking, actually, since we last recorded, I have gone back and platinumed 4 games.
Jesus.
1 from the start. Oh, no, 2 from the start.
And how many of them were those like 5-minute arcadey games like the...
So I did Immortals Phoenix Rising, which you should play.
Yeah, it's on the list.
I've got it. You can borrow it. I went and did Middle-earth Shadow of War. So I platinumed that from the start. That was pretty big. And then I went back and finished Last of Us 2. And this
Which is a big game.
The one that takes the title for me of the world's worst walking simulator.
Yep.
It's called Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh, I saw that. I heard good things about it.
It's good, but fuck me, it's slow.
I thought that was what Lord of the Rings was. It was a walking simulator.
Yeah, like that. This would have been interesting if it was set in Tolkien's world. It's set in like 1970s, like in country England.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was. It's just like because you have to play it like you have to go through the full game like maybe 3 or 4 times
Oh,
to platinum it, and it's just like the quickest you can go is. And it's just like, come on, run, you muppet.
What are you playing at the moment?
At the moment, it's between Valhalla and I'm just going full Viking. So I've been playing Valheim.
My dad and my mum are playing that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get me into it.
I've heard about it.
It's kind of like... I was trying to describe it to someone. It's kind of like a mix between Sims and Animal Crossing, but Viking.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you like, you're building stuff, but then like you're fighting trolls and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Does it have any link to like a Minecraft style game? Is there any kind of building and recipe building and shit like that?
Yeah. So you like, you're mining, you fell trees to build your house and that type of stuff. So there is some basic building stuff. I don't think you can get as complex as Minecraft in your building, but then you can, like smelt to forge
refine
iron and
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I got stuck.
Just so weird that my mum plays video games.
Yeah. So a few of the guys at work have been getting into it. So they've
My
actually
dad's playing Far Cry 3 still.
Oh, nice.
He loves it. My sister Kate got annoyed and was like, borrow some of Tom's games. He's like, no, I'm just gonna keep playing Far Cry.
Good on him.
But like, it's got the mechanics like where when you die, like it creates the gravestone, and you got to go back to that point to get all your gear. And I was a bit cocky and went way too far, and have lost all my gear. And so it's like 10 hours. It would take me like 10 hours to get it all back. So I need to get someone to come in and help me get my shit back.
Fucking hell.
Because I died right in the front of like a dungeon. And so
Oh no.
We'll probably introduce this beer, talk about it briefly, and then we'll take a break because we've got about 6 minutes.
Yes, chef. Right away, chef. I'm going to let Liam knows more about Wildflower than I do, so Liam can talk about this one.
I love me some Wildflower.
So yeah, what we got
Told you I was treating you.
Wildflower Zibeero. So it's wine beer hybrid, I guess is a good way to put it. This came out probably about a year ago.
Yeah, it's the
from
2019.
memory.
Yeah.
And Sofa was doing a mad run of like wine beers at the time.
Meaning it's beer in wine.
Oh no, it's
casks,
actually
or?
so this is like a golden ale, and it's matured with muscat. So I think it was like muscat grapes, and it was actually fermented. I think the muscat was fermented in terracotta amphoras. So
Yep. That was that word we couldn't think of.
Yeah.
We couldn't read.
And that was so that the wine came from Brash Higgins, which is like an awesome, pretty new age winery out of McLaren Vale.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's blended with his Golden Ale. So it's definitely has a lot of that white wine like character, and I really like these sort of beer wine hybrids.
It's really sharp.
Yeah.
It's got an acidity to it, but it's also mouth puckering.
It's like a really sharp lemon.
Yeah.
It kind of like ticks the boxes of what like a really crispy Riesling or something like
Yeah,
that would do.
yeah.
But
But with a much bigger body in it.
yeah, 100%.
What's the percentage on it?
It is 6.6.
Yeah, that's respectable.
Yeah, 2 center drinks.
It's the smallest Wildflower bottle I've ever seen too.
Some of his more bigger styles or a bit more hectic stuff he's doing in these.
I don't think I've ever bought anything from Wildflower that wasn't a 750.
Yeah, I think some of the. I'm not sure when it goes into smaller ones or.
Yeah.
I think price point more than anything else. But yeah, he does do a few of these. So I'm like part of his collective, which is like his membership thing, and we get some of these size bottles. Yeah,
I wiped myself out Christmas Day on Wildflower, but I bought 7 or 8 long necks of sour. I think 3 of them were Wildflower, and I got into my 4th, and they're all big sours. And my stomach just went.
Yeah, how was the reflux after
that?
that?
My god!
No, thank you.
Like I was sculling like ice cold water just to get the esophagus to stop melting. So yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, I did that once. I was in Melbourne for Good Beer Week. For some reason, we just lined up like all these events were all sour beer events. I think I was like, having Belgium Cantillons for breakfast and then moving on. And then ended up like 10 o'clock at night with a pint of Ferrell's Watermelon Warhead. And I went to take a sip, and it was just like razor blades going down. I was like, I can't do this. Yeah.
I was in serious pain that night.
Yeah,
I really struggled to fall asleep because of the reflux, and I was fairly certain I was going to vomit, not due to being drunk, but just my stomach just trying to reject the contents from so much sour beer. Anyway,
I can only do like 2 or 3 sours before I'm like, nope, I need to move on to something else.
I'd drink them all fucking day.
Yeah, I know you do. That's
but
like
I could. Well, I would like to. I just don't. I'm not physically capable of it anymore. I'm getting old.
I think the trick is every second one you get a wedge of something else.
Yeah.
And then
just like a really chocolatey, biscuity stout or something.
line the stomach.
Yeah. Or a milk stout. There you go.
You got lactose. Yeah.
delicious.
On that note, I think we will take a very brief break. And we're back.
We are back. Some of us never left.
Just goddamn camera. I blame the camera.
Silly camera. Can't take it anywhere. What was next on your list, Peter? You have a list of things to talk about.
PlayStation hardware.
PlayStation hardware. I have a PlayStation.
Before we get into so I've got. Well, we've already mentioned the availability of the PlayStation 5 is still in the shitter, thanks to.
I know a bunch of people. I'm in a few of those Aussie and PlayStation groups on Facebook and stuff, and a fair chunk of people who've been waiting a long time I've seen have posted that their shipments have started coming in, which is good.
So they were on the list pre-launch.
Yeah, it seems to be. It's a weird,
crazy.
It's a weird mix. There's a bunch of people who are on. No, they're on like the third shipment that EB put out,
right?
And they've been getting them. And then some people have been like, we weren't on the third shipment, we were on the one after that. But a guy put up the other day that he like managed to walk in, and the manager behind the desk was like, "I've been calling this guy for 2 weeks to come get his PS5.
Fuck him.
He hasn't. Yeah. It's yours. If you want to pay for it right now." And he's like, "Yep.
Yeah.
Here you go."
Yeah.
I'll be like,
I'll give you a blowy in the back room just to sweeten the deal.
100%.
Fucking hell.
I read that some JB Hi-Fi stores are just throwing out the list, and then just like if you ask nicely, they might just give you one.
Wow. Wow. And it is because of an international like silicon chip shortage.
Yeah.
It's affected cars, phones, any electronic equipment essentially.
But it's that on top of the scalpers.
Oh yeah, no, they're just exacerbating. They're just there's always piranhas in the water. That's just unfortunately a side effect of capitalist society. But the actual shortage is due to an international shortage of silicon. So you've got the same problem with computers. And then that was already the case leading into COVID, and it just exploded for COVID because manufacturing plants, mines, everything shut down.
Yeah.
And then everyone's sitting at home with nothing to fucking do, and of course, they want the latest console, so demand went up in addition to the supply already being shit ass.
Well, because that was the thing. They released the stats of the sales, and they sold as many in the first couple of months. It was the first quarter of a year that they did the PS4. It's the same amount of units have gone out.
Yeah.
Which was 13.5 million or something.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, but they can't keep up.
It would be the most successful. I think I haven't actually been following the Xbox stats. It'd be interesting to see how they're going. But I'm pretty certain it's the most successful console launch in history. If it wasn't for the fact that they curbed...
Can you just rock up and buy an Xbox now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why would you want to?
Yeah, I'm really struggling not to say something I'm really not allowed to say on the podcast. So the PlayStation or Sony have just announced they're going to do a PS5 born virtual reality headset. So they're going to do PSVR. It won't be out until next year. And they're very sketchy with details. Like, it's very high level. We're going to improve, the visual quality and the resolution and comfort.
New controls.
I thought that was cool. So new controllers, like ergonomic VR specific controllers, which they never really did for the... I mean, the Move controllers already existed when they released the PSVR and declared that they were the VR controllers.
Yeah.
And they were pretty shit, to be honest. I never ended up playing. I fucked around with them for a while. I bought the two Moves, but I never actually got into a game with them.
Yeah.
If they did something like the Oculus weird Halo-shaped things, that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that. A single cable to plug into the PlayStation instead of this weird box thing and lots of cables. And hopefully it'll natively support 4K and HDR, which is why the PSVR, the original PSVR, had to go to Gen 2 just to support the basic tech that was already there when they released the first gen.
I think the technology is still... It's not quite there yet.
Well,
I think it probably will be for that, but previous
if you look at Oculus, though, I mean, Oculus is incredible. The quality in that thing is as good as a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Right? And PC is well, above PlayStation in terms of visual quality, but you take the PS5 graphics and stick them in a headset. That's kind of where the Oculus is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. The other piece of hardware tech that I wanted to just briefly mention was the Pulse3D headphones, which are the official Sony headphones for the PlayStation 5. You already know the story, yeah. So I have been playing. The girlfriend's been going to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock some nights because she's got gym in the morning or whatever. And I want to keep playing Call of Duty, which is on multiplayer. You need to know when people are going to run up behind you or from your left or your right. So you need to be able to hear it. Now, I've got surround sound, but even there's no way that I can turn the volume down low enough to not keep her awake and still hear what I need to hear.
Yeah, you need headsets, yeah.
So I bought a headset. I bought the Pulse 3D because I wanted this new Tempest. Is it Tempest audio? I don't know why that's in my head.
Pulse.
No. The
driver.
The driver that they invented for the PS5. It's not called Pulse. It's called something else. Anyway.
Yeah.
Revolutionary new surround sound headphone tech that they built in. It's on a hardware chip.
Yeah.
I wanted to check that out, so I bought the official Pulse 3D because you could buy... There's a SteelSeries 7P in the States, which is the only one that natively supports that tech, but it's not available in Australia yet, which is really annoying. So I bought it, and I could not figure out for the life of me why the footsteps were just wrong. They were just wrong. A guy would come from my left, and, the obvious thing is, if the footsteps are coming for your right, you know what the problem is, right? Yeah. But that wasn't the case. The guy was coming from my left. I got shot from the left, but the footsteps sounded like they were in front of me and kind of, like 2 o'clock. And I just couldn't figure it out until I realized that, yes, in fact, I had the headphones around the wrong way for like 3 or 4 days in a row. And the weird part was, well, beyond my stupidity, it was fucking more comfortable to wear back to front.
Well, yeah.
Try putting them on back to front.
I have.
They're way more comfortable for me.
I didn't mind them. I put them because I got them as soon as they came out too, and they're fantastic. But the way they are designed is they have the white band that goes across the top, and then it curves, and the way it curves, you would put them on back to front because it looks more like
Aesthetically
stylistic.
pleasing.
But they're like doing it in reverse to be,
Different.
alternate.
I've got to say, I called it white PlayStation controllers. Fucking stupid idea.
Get too grubby.
I've already got like sweat dirt on the back of the controllers, and I've had it since launch. So what's that, October?
I've got a white PS4 and
The hardware in your TV cabinet irrelevant.
yeah, but it came with white controllers as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my brother had that one. Yeah.
Are they dirty, or am I just a dirty fuck?
Oh,
Well.
it's probably more of a cream than a white these days.
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah, don't smoke near them, fellas.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
Ugh. Remind me of my childhood with the yellow ceilings. Yeah, and I've got to say, so they were more comfortable backwards, but now that I'm wearing them the right way around, I've got to say, the surround tech in it is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basic 40mm neodymium drivers. They're the same tech in fucking every good or decent couple $100 pair of headphones, right? But it's more than just the fake surround that you've heard in other headphones before. It is far more nuanced as to where the audio is coming from. So I don't know how they do it. It's magic. I'm sure there's fucking research articles on the tech that they've driven into it. But as an outcome, it's fucking brilliant.
And it actually makes a difference for those first-person shooters, right?
Oh my God, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say about PlayStation, other than, I'm an idiot. So
But we still love you. We are drinking for your taste bud pleasure.
Nipah.
This is Mountain Culture, the new golden children on the block.
yeah.
This is their Be Kind Rewind.
You can tell why, though.
Yeah, the DJ's just stupid.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I picked this up today. I wasn't trying to get this Mountain Culture one. They did a collab with the Union Hotel, which has a very funny story behind it. But I was trying to get that one, but they'd sold out of individual cans, and the guys were really busy. And I was like, I'm not going to make you stress and try and fill a can off tap for us. I'll just grab this, which is absolutely delicious. But it's called Be Kind Rewind. The reason is their brewery is housed in what was one of the last Civic video stores left in the country.
That was my first job.
I worked at Network Video.
I worked at Civic since from the day I was legally allowed to work until I was 18. Yeah, there was 1 year crossover with my career job that I spent 15 years at. So long fucking time, like 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
Miss those days.
Was it anything like Clerks or?
Yeah, well, just as unprofessional, but not as like weird and zany. I would just like
more monotonous.
I knew where the blind spots were for the CCTV, so ice creams and chocolates disappeared when my friends came in. I literally so Chris from podcast of old, and I would spend my entire shift out the front of the store smoking. Because if I was working like a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning,
everyone's just dropping videos.
You could do a full fucking 8-hour shift and not see a customer.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's where my addiction to smoking started. Was just I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
You can't masturbate in public, so what else are you going to do? Unless you're on a bus.
No, that's still in public.
That's why I don't catch
Even
public
in the blind
transport.
spots, you don't do that. Yeah.
Dear God.
Something about the vibrate. Anyway.
But yes. Anyway, sorry, DJ, if you ever listen to this, that we associated your beer with bus masturbation. Yeah, what
When
can
you
say?
We, I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
It wasn't a
It was
group
all
consensus.
Liam. It was all Liam. That was his official Cicerone opinion on this beer. It's masturbation.
It's
on
like
a bus.
masturbating on a bus.
Public masturbation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a way to make that the title, but I don't think I'm getting away
No,
with it.
I don't think you will.
This is awesome. This is juicy as shit. It's the haziest fucking hazy IPA.
This is just, the way that they're bringing out just the juice and flavors in these beers is insane.
And super fresh too. Like the hop notes in it are.
Yeah.
They're not overpowering.
Well, this was packaged on the 16th of December,
Okay.
and it's still tasting as good as it is.
Oh, doing really well. It's got a really nice, like, minty finish to it as well.
So if anything, the hoppy notes have probably, that resininess has probably died down a little bit and gotten a little bit more subtle. I enjoy how subtle it is though, because it's very forward, but it's not overpoweringly so.
So I was drinking this on Friday night on tap, and and I think it was the same run of kegs, and I get heaps more of the like hop burn smell
on kegs or in the can.
in the can. Yeah, so like that like really like
It does have that burn
hop,
to it.
Yeah, that like hop greenness like in the nose than I was when I was drinking it on Friday. So
You get it in the back of the throat too. It's like drinking a freshly squeezed orange juice that you get that kind of acidity that hits you in the back of the throat.
Yeah.
they're just deceptive bastards. Like they make these really delicious beers that are like this is 7.3%.
Holy shit sticks!
It drinks like a 4.5-5% beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like DJ must be responsible for some of the like most like disastrous
Outrageous.
hangovers in the history of mankind, and he's only been doing this like a year, if that.
Yeah, I can't. Like, this is the perfect portion size for these beers. Like, I've decided I can't drink Mountain Cultures by myself because it's just.
Yet I still do regularly.
You get blottoed.
Yeah, you're just sitting on the couch like, oh, I've got to get up and go to bed. Fuck. Like,
Guess I'm sleeping on the couch
yeah.
again. But yeah, no, they I wish we'd had the one they did with the Union. It is one of the like everyone talks about like that soft pillowy mouthfeel.
Yeah.
That is one of the softest beers I have ever like had the pleasure of tasting. And like I was lucky enough to go to Treehouse and they know how to do
Yeah.
soft pillowy like New England style beers. But that one, the one that they did with the Union was just like next level. It was
It's the one that got kind of not like. Is this the one just as COVID started?
no. It's
quite
only
recent.
It's only just it's in fact the
a month
Union
ago?
Union has the last keg on tap this weekend.
Oh.
It's called Cut It Out.
Okay.
Because they got in trouble for they had a cutout of DJ like sculling two beers like Steve Austin style.
Yep.
And they had it in the front of the shop window, and someone complained to
Licensing.
not
ABAC.
license ABAC, and so
Because
they
it was branded as Mountain Culture.
Yeah.
Oh.
and so they took it down. But now, whenever the Mountain Culture guys come down, because they're in Katoomba, whenever they come down to like drink there, they always bring the cutout with them. So it lives
that's
in
cool.
there. They got a plane out the front of the brewery, which I think is awesome. I was meant to go there the other week. We were driving back from country New South Wales, but when we were driving there, it was like, it's 2 hours into a 6-hour drive. It was just like, if I stop and have a few of these,
Yeah.
A, I'm not driving anymore.
Yeah.
And B, you'll be Googling accommodation in Katoomba for
Yeah,
the night.
yeah. And then on the way back, we were coming back and it was a Tuesday night and we were driving like through Katoomba and it was like 10 o'clock. I was like, they're definitely going to be shut. Damn it. One time. So I guess I'll just have to take myself out there again. Oh, dear.
There you go.
Yeah, I haven't been, so I'm really keen to go visit.
Yeah.
Plan
Like
a fucking time.
Road trip.
So when I pick up the car, I got to put some Ks in it because I can't really rev this car until it's done 1,000 Ks just to wear in the engine. So I'm going to be looking for excuses to get in that puppy until I hit 1,000 Ks. Have you got any topics to talk about?
I wanted to check what like post-launch Cyberpunk things you have discussed.
None.
Dan got angry.
He got very angry at how shit.
I think
the
that's
game
how he
was.
hurt his arm.
throwing
start that
a
story.
controller. Yeah, wasn't a masturbation accident.
No.
Because I've put like 80 hours into it,
Jesus.
but on PC,
Yeah. Okay.
and I really enjoyed it, but it is not a finished game.
Yeah. So Dan's feedback, like off podcast, and I kind of feel a bit guilty for taking his words because he probably would like to talk about it on the
course,
podcast.
yeah.
But the way that he described it to me very briefly was, it's not populated. It doesn't feel like a living, breathing city that you're operating in. The side quests are just vacuous.
Yeah,
Is the
And
way.
wasn't there one part of the combat? He was just like, it's entirely unnecessary.
the hand-to-hand combat.
No. The upgrades.
Oh, okay.
The hacking. The whole point of the game, or the title, Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk aspect of installing, wetware in your head, he said was utterly pointless.
No, I thought more as like it came down to how you wanted to play it. Like you could do it this way or that way.
It kind of
And
reminded me of Deus Ex.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like the storyline, I really enjoyed the references to a lot of like Cyberpunk and a lot of the books, and like even just like Johnny Mnemonic and these types of things was really cool. But
Did they have sharks with freaking laser beams on their head?
no, not that I've seen yet. But
That was Johnny Mnemonic, wasn't it?
I think so.
He was training the sharks and they had the fucking No?
Isn't that Austin Powers?
Yeah, well, that's where that
the
reference.
game-
But I'm pretty
yeah.
sure Austin Powers was referencing.
But there are
genre.
other things like I forget what they call it. It's like basically like tripwires that come out of your hands and you like whip people in shock. It's
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it was funny. It's like I played on computer, so I was pretty lucky. Like I've seen some of the footage on PS4 and stuff like that, and
PlayStation 4 it was.
they pulled it, and then rightly so.
Yeah.
And I think the upscale, playing it on the PS4 version on PS5 was probably as good as any console experience, and it looked utter garbage.
Yeah, I haven't even tried.
Yeah.
So it's a title on a long list, and it's probably towards the bottom in the hopes.
Give it 12 months, and it'll.
I'll wait
be
for
a
the
lot
Game
better.
of Year edition that's like finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they like.
But the interesting thing is how many people were bitching and moaning about for them to release it, and they didn't want to because they knew what state it was.
And then they released it, and
And
it was
then-
unfinished. That's really disappointing.
It's a shame. It tarnished a company that had a pretty good reputation.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And there is a really good game in there. It's but like, you know, the first cutscene was a dude with like smoking a cigarette, and his cigarette like just hung in the air while he moved his hand. And next thing, I'm watching 5 cigarettes floating in the air. And like that was in the first minute.
Wasn't there some sequence that was triggering major seizures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like a hacking thing they call brain dancing.
Right.
And they had to, and like as you log in, like you put a headset on and it like flashes. And I think one of the review copies, someone the reviewer was like, I have epilepsy, and so they had to change the frequency of which it
So
flashes.
it was less likely to trigger
Yeah.
brain death. while
Like
playing the
I only
game.
had like one game breaking thing where I like literally had to like restart the game, and it was pretty funny because it's one of those.
But games crash.
Yeah. I mean,
plenty of
like
games crash.
Like Assassin's Creed has crashed way more than Cyberpunk.
Or was
has.
it Unity when the faces were just melting off players like the characters? Yeah, the NPCs.
Yeah, and there was I think it was Watchdog. There was eyeballs that like it wouldn't render the head, but it would render the eyeballs and the teeth.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking creepy to just have.
It looked like the Mars Attacks guys.
Yeah, like just teeth and eyeballs walking past in like a trench coat. It was like fucking freaky.
Yeah, I got super stuck because I was playing as like a female character, and there was like a dude like cracking onto you, and you're like at this like family, like his family dinner.
What did you get stuck doing?
Well, I'll tell you. So like it was like a storyline based thing, and it's like this dude's like, "Hey, I really like you," and she's like, "Do you like me?" And every time I said no, my character would just like hover in the air, like in a Jesus Christ pose, and so I'd have to restart it. And then when I said yes, I got locked into a sex scene with him. So I was like, "Oh, now I'm gonna watch this."
I like.
Oh no!
I like what they've done with the AC games on that topic, because you can now interchange between playing a female or a male character, and you can fuck a number of male and female characters regardless of what your gender is. And it's just like pick a gender and pick what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
It's just been handled in such an elegant way because there's just no politicking behind it at all.
Well, I know there was a lot of nerds getting upset with Cyberpunk because certain characters you could only romance based on your
Gender.
character's sexuality. Right. And
well, the next wave of complaints is going to be that there's only 2 genders built into the game, but that'll be...
No, because you could be a chick with a dick, or you could be a dude with a vagina.
Yes, but those are still kind of cisgender tropes, right? So
I think one of the best like day one bugs was like dudes' dicks were falling out of their pants. And so like even though they're wearing pants, their dick would just come out.
I hate that when that happens.
Every time.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
But
So
yeah,
have you
so
finished it now?
game
Have you finished
broken?
it?
no, I'm up to the like a point of no return where it's like once you do this mission, there's like they warn you there's no going back. So I've just been doing a bunch of side stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right.
But yeah, I've still done like I reckon I could have finished it in the 80 hours that I played, but I've just been fucking around.
Yeah. So you're halfway through Valhalla.
Yeah.
How many hours have you logged in your save games?
I'm not sure. I have to check on that actually.
So it's because I don't know about PC. Are you playing it PC?
Yeah, PC.
So on PlayStation, when you save the game, it tells you how many hours you've logged in your save, and I think I hit 170 by the time I platinumed it. That's a lot of fucking hours.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of exploring in AC. So there's I've been fucking around a fair bit because I've just really.
Let me just tell you, if I'd been practicing piano for 170 hours, folks,
you'd be really good.
Oh, I would be really fucking good.
Well, not necessarily.
Thanks, Tom.
You're
That's
welcome to that
really
one.
nice.
Yeah,
of you,
that's
mate.
what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Bring you back down to earth.
We got about 6 minutes before we have to have another break, thanks to our stupid fucking camera. I really need to launch like a GoFundMe, not a GoFundMe, a Patreon for Pixels and Pints. Try and raise some cash to get a camera that doesn't have a 30-minute record stop limit.
Do like a slow pixelated reveal of
what?
Of
me, clearly.
with his dick falling out of his pants.
Like that Simpsons. Come on, load.
Yeah, look, I've only got one more topic, which is WandaVision. Have you seen WandaVision? Are you up to date?
I've just finished watching the second episode, so
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think we can skirt around spoilers.
yeah, like I'm happy to.
No, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm really struggling with WandaVision.
To enjoy it.
Yeah.
I
fucking
found
love it.
myself last night watching the second episode and just doing the 15-second skip.
So you look, the first 2 episodes you have to just grin and bear it.
Yeah, and,
right?
and I think it's at the end of the second episode where they go into
get
color, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, now this is what I've like. I was like, did you really need 2 episodes to do that? That could have been 1 episode.
No. The reason they did that is because the first one was the 50s when most TV was in black and white, and they moved to the 60s where most TV was in
Okay,
color. That's
yeah.
why they did it. So,
Yeah.
so each episode for the first, well, actually, each episode full stop so far.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
except for one in the middle, which was a
Yeah.
bridging episode to explain what the fuck was going on.
Yes.
But every main episode, other than that one,
Jumps a decade.
jumps a decade. So you've got a 50s style TV series. And there was I Dream of Jeannie.
I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched.
Yeah,
and-
very much.
Yeah,
It was Dick Van Dyke Show, and they brought Dick Van Dyke in to give them pointers on how they should actually act and go through it,
Oh, that's cool.
which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What's a Marvel? What's an MCU? What do you mean they've been so?" He was so oblivious to everything.
Wow.
And they were like, "This is how much money we've made."
How old is he though?
Oh, he's,
Dude, he's going to be pretty old.
Yeah. Like wheel him out.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they got a 70s episode, an 80s episode, 90s episode. The 80s one was kind of family. What was the Olsen twins were in it. What's it called?
Family Ties.
It's a
Family Ties.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what the intro sequence reminded me of.
Well, all the intro sequences they have been ripping off.
Yeah.
The second one was Bewitched.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
then
first one was it I Dream of Jeannie? I can't remember.
no, that was meant to be the Dick Van Dyke Show.
But it was very I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
with I Dream of Jeannie mixed in. And then there's a Malcolm in the Middle ripoff.
Yeah, yeah.
And the latest one was ripping off The American Office.
Ah,
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. Like it's inventive. I've never seen a series like it. Breaks the fourth wall in a kind of interesting, weird way. But I find it boring as shit, and I don't know why we had to watch it.
Cool. Is it
Well, you
adding-
didn't have to watch
Is
it.
it adding anything to the MCU
Yes. Yes.
from a
Yes.
storyline point of view?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's changing
Yes.
their powers. That's really all it's really adding. It's more.
You're up to date though.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's changing. It's redefining Wanda's powers.
Okay.
It's making them
Well, that's
comic
pretty
accurate.
important.
Yes, it is
yeah.
making it comic accurate.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
can control reality.
Yeah.
Because she was touched by the Mind Stone. Was it the Mind? It was the Mind Stone.
Yes.
Yeah.
In
Which
the
is
last
weird because it
event.
should have been the fucking Reality Stone. That would have made so much more sense
Yeah.
in my head. But anyway,
Well, the Mind Stone just unlocked that part of. It's meant to be. It's
her
unlocked that
mutant
part.
powers, her latent.
Miracle power. Can't call it mutant yet. I mean, probably by the end of the series, they'll probably say
But-
the M word.
I guess the only thing is like this is the first release of like the stage 2 or whatever they're calling it, right?
Well, it's like phase 4,
phase
isn't it?
4,
Phase
whatever
4,
it is.
yeah.
But this is like they had,
They had the Infinity
the
Saga,
reset,
Yeah.
and then
and now they're starting fresh and like
Yeah, and they've got to figure out what to do. Well, they've already figured out what
I'm
to
sure
do
they
next.
know what they're doing,
Well-
but they haven't let us know yet.
So
yeah.
so I don't remember what started the conversation, but I was talking to the girlfriend and asked her if she'd seen. I think it was Guardians, because it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's
in the
fantastic.
MCU kind of 12 movies, 10 movies. No, it was 11 years, and it was
It's like 22.
yeah. And she'd never seen it. She said, "Oh, I tried to watch it and I just couldn't get through it." I'm like, "What the fuck? It's like the best one."
I have to admit, the first time I watched it, I really struggled. and I don't know. I was probably just really stoned at the time, but I went back and rewatched it, and like I love it. I really enjoyed it. But the first time I tried to watch it, I did really struggle.
I still cringe at the final scene where he's doing the dance off. Like it's cringy as fuck. But apart from
it
that,
works though.
It's also like I read a lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy comics.
See,
you must have been like one of 5 people on Earth because it's not exactly
pretty sure
a
I've still got
popular series. Actually, let's pause this conversation and come back to it because we need to do a fucking camera reset.
All right, back to it, as they say in the trenches.
In the trenches.
Once more over the top.
WandaVision. Yeah, look, spoilers aside, I'm really struggling with it. I just don't see the point. Having... So I've started rewatching the Marvel movies again.
Yeah.
Because, when the girlfriend mentioned all of the movies, she started by saying she hadn't seen Guardians all the way through, and I'm like, okay. What about Doctor Strange? No. Like, okay. Here's the full collection, because I've bought them all on... There's a mix of Blu-ray and 4K, mostly 4K, and I said, which ones haven't you seen? And she picked them all out, and there's like 10. So, okay, I understand why you didn't like Guardians, because you don't really understand what the fuck is going on in that universe and why it's important, and she hasn't seen the last 2 films either, the Endgame.
Right. Yeah.
So there's so many pop culture references to this in like modern society day to day now that it's kind of hard to not have seen, and you can't just go straight to the last 2 movies.
No, yeah, you just got to miss out on so much.
Yeah.
Well, half of it you'd be like, who the fuck are these people? And why are they... What?
About the only ones you can kind of skip is Ant-Man. Like, I know he's in Endgame, but you could probably...
You don't need to know his backstory to understand his role in Endgame, yeah.
Because, he's just another Marvel character. He doesn't actually directly interact with any of the Infinity Stones in his own movie. But it's a bit of fun. It was a distraction
He brought
film.
the time travel into...
I know, I know. Yeah. But and he, so he was a key element in the final movie, but he's probably the only sequence of films, his too, that has no direct interaction with the stones before Infinity.
But that's why I like them, because they just show, hey, it's not just centered around... Like, there's this shit still going on in the rest of, like, what's going on. It adds that extra...
Yeah. And I've got to say, I think we've blown a lot of smoke up Foggy's ass, particularly given, all the Star Wars shit that's going on. But, like, it's just masterful to go all the way back to Iron Man and realize that every single movie was leading up to the Infinity War.
So...
Well, I mean...
From the first Iron Man, they didn't have that all mapped out, right? At some point, like, halfway through, they're like...
They had to make sure...
It wasn't halfway through, though.
Yeah.
It can't have been halfway through.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember, these guys are coming from an actual publishing house where they do these regularly big arcs that tie in several different
you
books.
say that, and yet you watch any DC movie, and I have to challenge you there because they've got the same level of content. They've got better content
they're not-
than DC Comics.
Yeah, I mean...
And they've just made shit movies.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that it's still Warner Brothers...
Yeah.
It's not DC Studios, unlike the animated stuff that DC are doing.
Which
is
DC animated
insanely
are fucking
good.
amazing.
Yeah, because it's directly involving the DC guys. That's
You know what you got to do, people.
Yeah, but since Marvel took it on, like, I mean, look at how they kind of butchered from X-Men 2 to X-Men 3.
Yeah, actually, so she sat down and watched practically all of the X-Men in a row from the original all the way through to the end of the First Class kind of restructure. It's... Yeah, and actually, and I said I'd avoid spoilers with WandaVision, but there is some cool shit. Oh, I thought that was a cool moment. What you know exactly what I'm talking about. So like I don't know. I just think it's masterful going back and watching like the original Captain America, the Tesseract interaction.
Yeah.
And she actually watched Captain Marvel first. When she went through the list of movies she hadn't seen,
That's the one that she was drawn to first.
well, no, actually, I pushed on it because it's like she's right into like how am I going to say this the right way to respect her ethos? But she's all about like equal rights for everyone and
positive female characters and
that's what I said to her. I said, how can you have not seen this film? This is one of the very few movies where there is the main character in the film is female. She's not masculine and she's not overly feminine either. They've walked a very...
And she's not spurned on by a love story.
Yeah. She's not driven by romance.
Yeah.
So I
she's
found...
probably the most powerful character in
she's easily... Like, she's... Yeah. But I just find that they walked a perfect line. It's one of the few female main characters in any movie outside of or inside of the MCU where I think they walked a perfect line where they made her powerful and empowering without making her too blokey in order to deliver that, or making her too flimsy to kind of embrace the feminine side. She's just a chick, and she kicks fucking ass. And they didn't make too big a deal out of it. And I think that's the mistake most people go, oh, look, we're presenting an empowering female character, and they overplay that card.
Well, that was a lot of the complaint of that Avengers...
or the new Ghostbusters?
The fight scene, which was like the whole female fight in that big battle. And there was a lot of complaints that was a little too forced.
They overplayed it, yeah.
Yeah.
But like the new Ghostbusters movie, they recast all the main characters as women, and then they hung a hat on it by talking about men. Like, it's just make the fucking movie.
I didn't watch that, not because it's all females. It's like it was
shit.
It was all male. It was never going to be as good as the original, bad, right? Like,
yeah. Although I'll watch the relaunch that they're doing because that looks cool. It's been a long time in the making. I think it's been 3 or 4 years since they announced it, and they had they've got the right people on board. Yes,
as well,
they do.
Right?
They very much do. So, so we watched Captain Marvel first, and then interestingly, you go all the way back. She skipped Iron Man because she'd already seen Iron Man 1 and 2. So we started with Captain America, and then we're straight into a Tesseract story. And it's like, so she ended up accidentally watching it like timeline-y.
Like a good alternative timeline.
Yeah, yes, because that's... that's the first interaction that humans have with aliens and with the Tesseract. And then we go straight into the Tesseract story, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
Wasn't the first Captain America, because we were watching the sequence of films that she hadn't seen in release date after Marvel. After Captain Marvel. But Captain Marvel, leaves the Tesseract with them. It's the first time humans have interacted with one of the Infinity Stones.
False.
When was the first time?
First Avenger, which is set in World War II. Captain Marvel's set in the 90s.
Are you talking about
the Tesseract?
Historical timeline or release of movie timeline?
I'm talking about both.
Historical timeline. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he does interact with the Tesseract before. Yeah, of course, because they're in World War II. So it's the 40s.
Yep.
Interact with the Tesseract. I had to reconstruct the timeline of the Tesseract in my head because they've got it in the 40s. Then she interacts with it because Marvel has it.
Well, no, because S.H.I.E.L.D. pick it up.
Sorry? Yeah. They leave it with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because Tony Stark's dad finds it when he's trying to find Cap.
Yeah, right at the end.
Yep.
And then
so
Goose
S.H.I.E.L.D. has
eats
it all
it
that
and
time.
vomits it out.
Yep.
And then they take it in the first Avengers movie, so Thor takes it back when he transports Loki back. And that's the first time you see a really bad CGI. We haven't really picked the actor yet, so we'll make it generic.
When he was like... He was very comic booky.
Yeah, well,
the chin is very pronounced in that one. The ball sack chin.
The good old ball sack chin. Anyway.
I think it's pretty cool that they're filming all the Marvel movies in Sydney now.
Yeah.
They're moving everything now. I think the whole studio is just moving to Sydney.
It's as cool as it is. The reality, I feel that the reality is after the success of the volume in Mandalorian, every Hollywood movie's probably going to go to that kind of style of shooting where nothing's on location anymore unless you really have to go to location. I think the amount of travel for Hollywood movies is going to be cut down considerably.
Makes sense.
And it's perfectly timed with COVID too, because it makes a whole lot of scene filming far more possible to have a closed set where you control the people coming in and out. With COVID tests now being like a 90-minute turnaround, they've got like those litmus test type things that they've been talking about. They can give you almost an instant result. Test them as they walk in, film your fucking episode or movie, and then get the fuck out. I think that's going to change Hollywood, that volume thing.
That's pretty fucking cool. Would you like to know what we're drinking?
Yeah.
It's our last beer of the night. This is the DKAT series from Deeds down in Glen Iris in Victoria. DKAT, which stands for Don't Know About That, and then whatever hop they choose. So it's their single hop. They usually do it as a hazy double IPA series. So this is 8.5. Nice way to round out the evening. And this one is all focused on Amarillo.
Isn't that the new hop that we were talking about?
No, Amarillo's a very old school
What's the name of the goddamn new hop? We had a whole episode of when we did the test pack. It's not
Oh,
Eclipse.
yeah, it is Eclipse.
It is
yes.
Eclipse, sorry. Okay.
Or 016 or, yeah.
Yeah.
Has been like 3 months since an episode, so yeah.
But they brought this series about because they kept getting comments on their social media of people saying, "Oh, I don't know about that hop," which always brings me much joy because one of my mates, who is a rep for a beer company that I won't throw him under the bus, but he hates. He always goes on about how he hates.
Is this Robbie?
Nelson? No, it's not Robbie. Please, I'd throw Robbie
That
under
would
the
have
bus.
been funny.
I wouldn't. I'd dive in front of the bus for Robbie.
Oh.
No. This particular guy hates Nelson Southern, and he's like, "Oh, I can taste it," and I was like, "There's definitely none in this." And this is what they talk about, where they're like,
So it's the opposite placebo effect.
"Yeah, you tell him it's got Nelson." He's like, "Nah, I'm gonna hate it," and then he's like, you give him to him like randomly, like a couple of rounds later, and he's like, "Oh, this is really good." And I was like, "Oh, it's the Nelson beer." But they said that they used to get complaints that the focus of like the particular hop they didn't like, they would be like, it was like a minuscule amount in the whirlpool, not even in the dry hop. So like you'd get nothing.
Yeah.
Whisper.
Yeah. So I think they've done, this is the 6th one in the series.
It's a solid IPA.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I like the can design as well because it's just old school, like messenger little bubbles with text and like mice and stuff. But yes.
No, it's good. Like it's certainly hop forward, as you would expect out of a double A IPA. Is it double? I mean, it'd have to be for 8.6, right?
Yeah,
It's a hazy double. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that it's quite distinct from an IPA, right? You don't get that really orange, juicy, citrusy.
that softness.
Pillowy.
Pillowy. That's a fun word to say. I watched a fun movie the other day, and I'm not afraid to admit that I found it fun. I finally watched Sonic the Hedgehog.
Ah.
Okay.
I was at home by myself. I've been on holidays. Emma was out at work, and I was like, we'd recently. Well, I say we. I recently bought a new TV, similar in size to Peter's. It's giant.
You're going to get in trouble for saying that, actually. What do you mean it wasn't we that bought the TV?
No, it was definitely me. She bought the couch. I bought the TV. That's how we set up the living room.
Okay.
But
internal politics.
it's I haven't really ever had a smart TV, so now I've got all the apps into things, so I don't have to have them on the PlayStation, which is nice.
Yeah.
But my Amazon Prime for some reason would never connect.
It's funny you say that because I've got a much earlier generation smart TV. I think it's like a 2015 model, so it was probably the second generation of smart TV, and it's Android driven. Mm-hmm. I've got the PlayStations, the 4 and the 5 are both connected, and I still have an Apple TV for all of those apps.
Yeah, right.
And I much prefer Apple TV. And it's not because it's less buggy, it's because every implementation of Stan and Netflix and fucking Amazon Prime, they're structured differently. And I just find the Apple TV implementation of the app just presents the shit that I want to see so much better.
Yeah, right. I've never used Apple TV, but I finally got the Amazon Prime to just so I can do it directly through the TV.
Yep.
And it was like the first thing that came up. I was like, "Would you like to watch Sonic the Hedgehog?" And I was like, "You know what? It's free. Why not?"
Fuck it. And it was good?
Oh, it was obviously aimed at a younger audience.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't mean you can't enjoy it.
no, I definitely enjoyed it. It was just like
I watched the Pokemon movie
so did I. It was great.
6 weeks ago, and I thoroughly fucking enjoyed it.
The recent one?
Yeah, with Pikachu,
that was
the
good.
live acting in
Yeah.
it.
I enjoyed that as well.
But it's the guy who voiced Sonic in this one. He's in like Parks and Rec and like all those kind of shows. Ben something.
I never watched Parks and Rec.
He's in. I don't know if you watched them, Liam.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not enough to know who you're talking about.
He's got a very distinctive voice, and he's always in Parks and Rec. He's the John Rufio character, but he's always like singing and like thinks he's a bit more. But he's got this very distinctive voice, and I just could not. I was looking at Sonic, and I just could not see his face. He's got a very distinctive face as well. But it was great. Jim Carrey was prime Jim Carrey as well. It was like back to like Riddler kind of like
cool.
days.
Yeah.
It was.
He just died a death on screen, didn't he? Like, he's not in anything.
He went real indie, I think.
Yeah.
He went like real Canadian indie movies.
And he's pretty serious these days. I think this is the first
But
like,
he did
outlandish thing he's
Yeah,
done for a
okay.
while.
Because he was actually a really good, serious actor. He did a couple of movies like that, and they were brilliant. And it showed you his range wasn't just outrageously funny.
Well, was the Truman Show like the first one he did that was like a proper serious role?
Oh, yes, but there's also a lot of moments in the Truman
It's
Show
very
where
comical.
it was,
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck, that was written into the lyrics of a song essentially. The drawing the face on the fucking mirror and
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was kind of more serious. It was nuanced serious because it was still silly. But no, I can't remember what it was. It was a
Eternal Sunshine?
That's the one I was thinking of.
yeah. So there was that. Even the number 21. He was the main character in the number 21,
Don't think I've seen
which
that.
was a psychological thriller.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
And it's fucking brilliant too. And he's losing his mind. Like he's having a real existential crisis, and there's some weird shit going on, and it's well worth watching. But he's a solid actor,
He's fantastic, yeah.
so it was good to see more of a range. And then he just disappeared.
Yeah, no, I think
Fucking
he was doing...
Canadian indie films. He's hanging out with Stephen Amell or
I
what?
don't think he financially needs to do the big movies anymore. So he's probably at a point where it's like, if it's a role that he's like, that would be heaps of fun, or...
I also got the impression he kind of had a bit of a psychological breakdown too, and he certainly had a relationship breakdown, all the ugliness that went with the ex and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, you've got the list out.
I did have my list out. I was trying to remember what else.
14 minutes less, so talk quickly.
Anyone watch Blood of Zeus?
No.
It's on Netflix. It's good fun. I suggest it. I watched it after playing Phoenix. It was it's Greek mythology.
Yeah, okay.
But set in like the
Kind of assumed that from the name. But
Castlevania like animation style.
Yep.
Um,
Is it an animated series?
yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But like back to like kind of hand drawn.
Yeah, cool.
So that was a bit of fun. Graphic, like just like the Castlevania Netflix series, but it's like another one of those Netflix is like trying to like get into that kind of thing. That was cool. And the new series I've been loving. I don't know if anyone ever has an interest in it, but it's a series on the F1 drivers.
I have got into F1 because of that series. It's insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, if you have zero interest in F1, watch it, because it just blew me away how brutally honest
Yeah.
they are. Like
they're dicks.
like they're having like press conferences like with multiple teams, and they're fucking tearing into each other like brutally honestly.
Yeah, wow.
In front of camera. It blew me away. But I've actually really got into F1 because of that.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit
Interesting.
about actually watching the races. Like, it's all the other stuff. It's really interesting.
But it's kind of like the first episode or two, like especially as an Australian, it follows Daniel Ricciardo,
Yeah, okay.
the Australian driver, and it's just like, fuck, I want to go have a beer with him. He looks like a very fun guy. I think my favorite scene, I think we're just about to finish season 1, and there's one where he's like, it shows like because they do a fair bit of race footage, but he gets cut off and then like almost like slammed into and slammed off, and then he finally overtakes the guy who does it, and as he's overtaking him, you just see him flip him the bird, but he's going like 250 k's an hour. And he
In
still
like
has
a
time,
multi-million-dollar
and he
vehicle.
still has time to flip the dude off, being like, "Fuck you, pal!" Like, yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, he sounds like a top bloke, and he weirds me out because I've got a really good mate who they speak exactly the same, and every time I hear him talking, it's like, that's fucking Al. That's my mate Al. Like, yeah.
classic Al on the race again. No, that's pretty much my list. I think the only other thing I was going to talk about was, well, the problem is we've done this like a day early or a day or two early. They're doing a new. We'll have content for the next one. There's a PlayStation State of Play. About all the upcoming stuff. That's really
cool.
in Friday morning.
It's going to be interesting to see. We've got like a 12-month wait for the next Star Wars TV series, don't we? Or when's Bad Batch out?
I'm not sure. Well, Winter Soldier starts in a week or two.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's more engaging for me than WandaVision has been. I will continue watching WandaVision because it's part of the universe, and you need to know what the fuck's going on.
Behind is I watched the first episode and was like, I
Yeah.
just didn't have it. It was only like yesterday I watched the second episode.
So
It is hard. The first 2 episodes are hard,
Yeah.
but it's there's like they
but you
start
get that
dropping the hints.
little bit at the end. Was it the first episode?
First episode where the dude chokes, yeah.
No,
yeah, and the second episode is when they go into color at the very end of the second episode.
but there's also the radio. Can you hear me?
That was in the second episode.
Yeah. And then there's also a post-credit scene in a couple of them, which caught me by surprise. I was because I've noticed it's like a 35-minute or 45-minute episode, and by the end of the episode, there's 10 minutes of fucking credits.
Everything on Disney Plus has like
just
insanely
crazy.
long
Well, the problem
credits,
is they do the initial credits, which are like maybe a couple of like 2.5 minutes long, which are the graphic
sort of stuff.
like ones, which are cool. I like those graphic ends for WandaVision. But then they also have the 8 minutes of every other language.
No, it's not multilingual. I'm sure
At the end of it, it's just black screen, white writing.
Oh, yeah. But it's not multi-language. It's all in English. They're just naming everybody.
No, not.
Really?
I was just like, because I heard that.
Here's the titles in Japanese.
Well, it weirded
like
me
Danish
out
and
because
it's everything.
For some reason, when I started watching the second episode, it came up in German, and it's like fully dubbed in German, and it was
cool.
like, and I was like, oh, and it was like one of the ads.
Cool way to learn a language.
It was one of the ads in like those ads, and I was like, why do they have a Stark Industries toaster ad in German? And then it took me like 10 minutes to realize, oh, I'm actually watching this in German. I was like, where's this going? Like,
there's a few of those kinds of ads kind of injected into the series as well.
They're very clever, those ads.
Yeah,
like
they
the
are.
Hydra watch and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Yeah.
Von Strucker watches.
Persevere.
Yeah, I will.
With it. I know what's going on now, and as you do, like they do explain what the fuck's going on. There's a couple of character points that are probably significant somewhere in the rest of the MCU movies and TV series and stuff, but apart from those few points, you could probably take it or leave it. I could certainly leave it.
Yeah.
No, I'll take it all because that's the thing. I know everything that's going on. Like as it's all unfolding, I'm just like, yes, more.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just hoping that Winter Soldier is going to be better.
I think it's going to be fun.
And the Falcon.
Like the buddy cop kind of comedy aspect, I think it's just they're gonna play very well off each other as they always have in like those few scenes they had in the films together.
And then you got Loki. Loki's
Loki's still meant to come out, and then I think that's meant to still come out this year.
I think so too. And then you've got Bad Batch, I'm sure is this year. You've got Mando season 3 in December.
We've also got the Boba Fett special, the Book of Boba Fett,
which is the spin-off kind of. I think it'll probably be at least one season, if not two. That starts in October, but these are still.
It's all the way. Yeah.
Oh, look, the first quarter of 2021 has flown past, so it'll probably come up on us pretty quickly.
Disney Plus has done it well with because they got the new channel and they got
they just announced they released the Star.
A whole bunch of stuff yesterday.
Emma's very excited because there's all of Bob's Burgers. She loves Bob Burgers.
They have it's almost
comedy show by the guys behind. I think they did Rick and Morty as well.
Okay,
it's very. No, you'll love.
But
Bob's
they don't
Burgers.
release Rick and Morty seasons fast enough, man.
No, you'll enjoy Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, okay.
Bob's Burgers good, and the guy who voices Archer also voices the dad.
That is one
and there's
fucked up cartoon. I love that cartoon.
There's a crossover episode as well where Archer comes into Bob's Burgers and he voices
that's it.
both,
It's the guys behind Archer are the guys behind Bob's Burgers.
Right.
Yeah. You'll really enjoy it.
So Archer reminds me in a very nostalgic kind of way. So there's not that much of a link, but it reminds me of Aeon Flux, which is an old SBS cartoon in the
I know of it. I never
90s.
think I watched
that was it was so out there and fucked up. It was almost like manga in English, but with that whole that makes no fucking sense kind of way that a lot of manga films don't make any sense to me. And it was weird and just unusual to see a cartoon. As a kid growing up, Aeon Flux was an unusual cartoon.
Yeah.
I just remember a sequence where the spy, because it's all spies, it was all drawn artistically, they're all stretched out people. And they're on a train, and the main female character walked into this train carriage, sat down next to a dude, and started just tongue kissing this stranger. And then it cuts to a shot of inside her mouth, she opens a flap on her molar, pulls out a message with her tongue and passes it to him, and then she stops.
Very horny there.
Like, it's just weird. I mean, even the opening sequence to Aeon Flux, I'm sure you can YouTube it, right?
Yeah.
The opening sequence is like an eyeball that kind of zooms out, and it's, and then some shit's going on inside the pupil, and it kind of cuts through into that scene.
Which is kind of like an old Bond opening sequence.
Very much. Fucking weird. Check it out.
Yeah, cool.
It reminded me of that. Archer reminds me a lot of Aeon Flux.
I mean, guess this is our first episode for the year. Is there
Season 4, Episode 1.
Season 4, Episode 1. I mean, some cool things coming out. We saw the Mortal Kombat trailer.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it because I just.
I liked it. It
looks fun.
Yeah. I'll watch it.
It was.
They finally made Kano an Australian actor.
The first
and
movie was
very, very like.
The first movie was really bad.
I remember
Like G.I. Joe bad.
I remember going to the movies to watch that. And being really excited.
I'm pretty sure I did too.
Like,
It was just like such a letdown.
Yeah. Song was sick though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. They got the release date for the new Ratchet and Clank. I don't know if you've ever played a Ratchet and Clank game.
I've played 10 minutes of it.
It's fun.
Good fun.
I love Ratchet and Clank. The new one comes out in June. Actually, the PS4 one they made, it's free in the month of March.
Cool.
So there you go. Free game.
There
How
you go.
good.
Download it. I think we'll probably wrap here at this point.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. I'm drunk enough and run out of topics. So
Feeling warm and fuzzies.
thank you very much for joining us. And look, we'll try and get back to some sort of semblance of a every other week kind of release schedule because, it's been a long time. So we'll try and keep it up.
With Dan's arm injury, can we change his little mascot to be the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, that's a lot of work just to redraw an arm, but I'll see what I'll do
a really bad Photoshop job. How about that?
We'll see what happens. All right, thanks very much, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.